So hello and welcome to Intuitive Connection. I'm your host, intuitive counselor and spiritual guide, Victoria Shaw. And today I'm super duper excited because we have a really cool guest who's here to share about a really cool book, Colette Baron-Reid, and her recent book, The Art of Manifesting. And Colette, if you haven't heard of her already, is an internationally respected author, educator, spiritual intuitive, and personal transformation thought leader. Her best-selling books and oracle cards are published in 27 languages. She's the founder of Oracle School, a global online learning platform with students in 35 countries where self-empowerment, co-creation, and ancient oracles meet in a modern and contemporary way. Among her other transformative offerings, Colette also leads an annual Dream Quest Platinum Mastermind for successful individuals in transition. An accomplished artist and musician, she spreads joy and well-being between Canada and the United States with her husband and two funny little Pomeranians. All right, Colette, welcome. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Me too. Me too. I love your show, so it's going to be fun.
Oh, thank you. I'm rubbing that in. And so I did have a chance to read the book, and it's just absolutely lovely. And what I really loved about it for me is I've been doing energy art now for forever, for as long as I've been doing this other, probably before. But I love the systematic way that you share this with people, so they have sort of the tools, the structure, the format to do the work.
Yeah.
And I also love how you weave in really good, playful, and helpful teachings about the law of attraction and manifestation through the book. Because I think that even if you were to read this book and not do the art, which I encourage you all to do because it's super fun, I've been playing with it, you're still going to get a lot out of it. But my first question to you is, how did you come to write this book? Because there's like a really interesting story behind it.
Okay, it is. It's a very interesting story. So, but I think I need to go back
Okay.
to when the art and the spirituality, the two bridged, right? So I'm going to go back 40 years ago when I got clean and sober. So I'm 40 years clean and sober. I've been doing this intuitive work professionally for 37 years now, right? So in many different forms, as over 37 years, it does morph and change, right? So when I got sober, I started going to Unity Church, and Unity Church was where I learned how to make vision boards. That was my first introduction to using art and art form as a means to communicate with divine forces, is how they described it. Where it's like a prayer in motion, and you would put, collage, right? And everybody knows what that is, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure by now it's ubiquitous. It's in the zeitgeist. People know what it is, right? But I had made a living. Then a couple years later, or was it around the same time, actually, right? So I was making a living painting on people's clothes. So I was an artist, like stuff that, like, there's a painting of mine behind me. And for the first, I think, or it was the second year of sobriety, I got into it. And so, yeah, but I didn't recognize what it was doing, because I really didn't put the two and two together about how, people would tell me their intentions, and I would paint their intentions onto their clothing, right? Their leather jackets, or I would take denim and shred it and all this stuff. So the intentional art was made sense to me. I knew that if I drew something, it could potentially show up somehow in form. But it took all these years later, 40 years later for me. Actually, no, it was 38, because 2 years ago is when this book got born. I'll just fast forward. So during the pandemic, I have anxiety. I mean, I have everything you can think of. Like, I can tick off all the boxes, and I'm amazed that I walk around as sane as I am, but I know what to do. So I had this real sense that I wanted to go back and paint. And very quickly, I started painting, and it did the trick right away, because when you do intentional art, your nervous system starts to respond, right? So, and right away, it calms down, and the neuroplasticity that we did the research on for this book. I mean, I didn't know what to call it. I knew what was happening, right? I also knew that after doing 42 vision boards over 40 years, that it's not even attraction, it's more alignment, like that
Right.
when I became the person who could have the thing I put on the board, it would come. And once I let it go and didn't put any attachment to it, it would come. So I had proof that there was some kind of relationship I had, but it wasn't what I was shown. And I do think that again, I'm not against any of the original teachings of like The Secret and all that. I think it just needed to evolve,
Yeah.
right? So I'm one of these people like to innovate ideas. And I thought it was just unfinished because it was all about getting something. Like I
Yeah.
see the bike, I get the bike. But there was no process for nobody really talked about the synchronicities and the meaningful coincidence that brought it to you. It was just I see it, I get it. So I started, and then I started seeing how people were so depressed because they didn't think they were doing it right. It didn't come in the form that they wanted. And I think it's because people were teaching that the universe is Uber Eats. And no one's fault because we're all just trying because we know
Yeah.
it works. We're just trying to figure out how, right? And I've been fascinated by this. I've done a vision board, event for people for years now. So I started questioning it. So what happened was after I painted all those paintings, I broke my foot. How's that? Those paintings became an oracle card deck and they were channeled and whatever. But I knew I had to get into line work because I was stuck in bed. I had to take a scooter to go to the bathroom. I couldn't go anywhere. So I started taking classes for 7-year-olds and like art, like line art for 7-year-olds on YouTube. And then I came across neuro art, but I had already been interested in the art of Greg A. Dunn he was a neuroscientist in 2010. He became a fine artist, and I knew about Raymond Icagel. I think oh my God, my brain doesn't work today. Anyway, I messed up his name, but
I
who
know who you mean, and we
you
can
know what
have
I'm talking
we'll have the actual information
about.
somewhere in the show notes.
Yeah, the proper name.
Yeah.
Yeah, proper name. This is a 67-and-a-half-year-old brain that sometimes just goes, bloop, right? Use your words. I don't know where they are. Where'd they go?
I've never had words, so
Right? My words are like, where did it go? I totally know what this is. So, I'm a nerd. Like most people don't know what a nerd I am. Like my idea of porn is quantum physics. You know what I mean? So, like I'm a science nerd. I'm always interested in like, how does it work? Why does it work? And I was always so skeptical too, even though I'm also a spiritualist and I'm an animist. I believe that spirit exists in all forms, but I also know that there are ways in which we haven't yet determined in our quote unquote modern way of seeing the world that our earliest ancestors took for granted and knew that they were in a communication with something greater than them that
yeah.
made the world go round and you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. And so I'm always like, okay, how does this working? Wait. How does this working? So I'm stuck in bed. I have plenty of time to ask questions and take classes. So I ran into something called the neuro arts, and I went down a rabbit hole. I'm trying to understand that it's multidisciplinary uh, study of how art in all forms shifts brain plasticity, which made total sense. I'm like, oh, right. That's why I always feel good and why I've doodled my whole life and why I drew and why music is important to me. I was a recording artist. Like I am an artist, but I have to be because it keeps me sane and balanced.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm not. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. But I also knew. So how did it become this book? I'll get there.
We're good.
I'll
We're
get
good.
there.
We're
I'll get
following
there.
along.
Okay, I'll get there. So like I'm just giving you like how the crumbs took me into the forest. So I ran it. So I start looking at all these different types of line art. Greg A. Dunn's work looks like neurons, right? It looks like neurons and it fascinates, like the neuron looking things really interest me. And so I looked into neuroaesthetics, which is about how we see beauty and how it also impacts us on our neuroplasticity. And then I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then then I looked at Zentangle, all the different mindful line art. There's
Right.
Neurographica, there's Zentangle, there's Neurodoodle, there's Zen Doodle, there's all kinds of doodly things that have some, have the mindfulness quality to it, that will give you a very specific experience, right? So I knew the experience was there. I wasn't really keen on the Russian version, which is Neurographica, because it was it was very intellectual and very rule based. It was fantastic though. It just wasn't for me. And I knew I was already doing something different that looked similar to all of them. And it was just natural. It came out of me naturally. So the funniest thing is I I started asking this one question, like, okay, I have manifested an incredible life. Like I came from being a drug addict and an alcoholic, ruined my life, and reclaimed a new life, became a different person, did all this inner work, and really, I'm a walking proof that personal transformation is real, and that you can forgive yourself and others, and that you can overcome basically anything, terrible traumas, violence, all the kind of stuff that happened to me, my background. And I also knew that if I could have a communication with the universe, I don't know exactly what that is, right? I know, is it God? I like to call it God, but I also like to call it the conscious universe. I like to call it the field. As I started reading other people's work, like Lynn McTaggart, that there is absolute proof that this is a relational universe, that we are part of
Yeah.
it. It is part of us. And none of us know 1,000% how it works, but we know it does.
Yes.
Right. So I stopped asking about the how part.
Well, the
So,
not knowing is part of the fun, I think. I think
yes,
it's
that's the
part of the
best
human
part.
experience. Like I always say, loosely. You can have some theories, some suppositions, some ideas to keep you grounded, but don't take it too seriously because you can't really know.
Yeah, I love that you said that. Thank you. Because if we wear the world loosely and we can stay in curiosity, and I think that's essential for intuitives, like for us to do the
Yeah.
work that we do, you and me, we absolutely have to
Yes.
not see ourselves as the queen of the universe, right? The world does not revolve around us. We have to get out of our own way to receive
Yeah.
the information. We receive the information, and then it's our job to kind of sort it out and figure it out. But
Yeah.
right? So we know that we have to be open and loose, because if you get too tight and too egoistic
It's
about it,
gone.
it's
It's
gone.
gone.
It just
Then
runs
you're just
away.
telling your
Woo!
stuff and yeah, you lost the thread. My guys always say intuition is an act of surrender. You have
Yeah, it
to
is. It's
you
an
have to
act of
completely
surrender.
let go to receive.
Yeah, it's an act of surrender. I love that you said that. Yeah, and it's hard, especially now. The world is uncertain, and especially now, people come to this subject, including oracle cards that I'm known for, and any of the work I do. I address it right away. I get it. You came here to say, what's going on? What's going to happen? And am I going to get what I want? Right on the other end. Everybody wants those three questions answered, none of which are good questions. Because that's not you're not
Yeah.
going to get certainty, nor will you ever get control over by going into the manifestation process. That has to go. Even work with oracle cards, receive it, see how it plays out, let go, and let it track you, let it be a navigational tool. But predictions, I think now more than ever, can actually be a little harmful, because they're making us stop. There's like
Yeah.
absolutism, and there's no such thing as absolute determinism. We're in the most exciting time of human history where we can co-create till the cows come home. So why would you say that for sure is going to happen? Nobody knows.
Right.
I
And
Garrett,
you
we
can
know.
sometimes put people in the wrong direction, right? Because we're
Correct.
co-creating. I did a whole episode on this, of why I'm a psychic who doesn't tell the future. Cause I want to help you co-create your best future and stay in alignment
Yeah.
and keep moving forward. I don't want to say like, this is going to happen. And I think, there was in the past, a lot of oracles were dooming and glooming because
Right.
that's
And
what
they are
gave them
now.
power,
Everybody is now. Like you look at the internet.
Yeah.
Don't look at
Not a
the internet. How
fan.
about that? Stay away.
Okay,
Um,
so we're doing the art. So
so we're
you're
doing the
looking
art
at
at the
all these
same time.
different modalities.
I'm doing the art at the same time as asking myself questions. How does this really work? Come on. So I'm like, okay, if I look back and the reason why is because in order to manifest, you need to be in a state of surrender and you need to feel safe. Otherwise, you're
It's
coming from a
huge.
place where you're manifesting from, and we're always manifesting. Just it's like we're always, and what
Yes.
manifestation is the universe is responding to us as a mirror, right? So even entire cultures manifest even the most horrible things can happen because an entire culture is taught to think and feel a certain way, and that's what they're rehearsing. And then there's a fallout from there's consequences. The universe is neutral. So it's not Santa Claus, and it's not Uber Eats, right? What it is a big mirror. And so when we are relaxed and our nervous systems are in alignment and we can regulate it, this is the key piece, which I realize happens when you do this line art. You can use this then as a jumping off point to embody what it is, the feeling state that you want to rehearse, because that's what you want to see. And you embody it because you're moving your arm and you're scratching a piece of paper. And it now becomes an embodied practice, and you become the person that has what you say, and you get out of your head.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I also, at the same time, this is how all this came together. I was asking the question, well, how did all these things manifest for me? Because I could tick off literally everything. They all came to me through synchronicity. Not one of them came because I put an order in and it arrived at my doorstep. It came through like, whoa, oh, that was cool. Oh, wow. How did that happen? Every time, and every frickin' single time. So I started saying, art needs to bring in, we need to actually include, and I did this in my vision board challenge, the zone of synchronicity, because nobody ever pays attention or even talks about that. That's why they're disappointed. Oh my God, I didn't get what I wanted. I got this almost thing. It was not good. But no, but that's what you are. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are.
Right.
So the art piece came together like wild magic. I will tell you this right now, because I joined this woman's um, her membership. And she was on a video saying, while she's drawing, and I'm going to I know I'm going to manifest someone that's coming into my life. I'm staring at her, going, "It's me!" I'm like, this is me because I'm looking for you. And we were both Reiki masters. We both had and so both of us were doing similar things, but she wasn't teaching it. She taught some other things. And I was like, listen, I want to show you what I'm doing. Like, I get that it's not the rule-based thing that and this other stuff. Cause I said, but I need to show you this. I want to know what you think. So I showed it to her. She's like, this is genius, because I actually do this too. And I'm like, come on, really? Anyway, so then I had taught this to all the Hay House staff, right? And they just said, you need a book deal. Like, we need to give you a book to talk about this. So this woman is just as nerdy as me. So I called her up and I said, listen, do you want to write a paragraph about this other thing? And then I went, no, I changed my mind. Let's develop this further together, because I think it's not 100% complete. And I swear to God, we wrote that whole book in less than 3 months, 2.5 months.
Wow.
The two of us were like so freaked out because everything that we needed, all of the research, anything that we could have just landed in our laps, or some new discovery happened, and to prove that round things like the universe is spherical, like all these things, we were like, oh my God, and we were like literally going, we're channeling we're being given this. So like, seriously, like Anna and I are still gobsmacked at the fact that this actually happened. And we knew afterwards that the steps that we did to get to change the way we saw the paper, for example, the intention, the portal, like stepping at the threshold moment, none of this is new. This is all ancient technology that our ancestors knew 6 million years ago, right? All the things we just modernized it. We're like, okay, let's put this here. Let's put this here. Let's step here. Let's do this here. And let's teach people how to do this. But we tested it. Like, this is tried and true. Like, we didn't write this book based on theory. We made it real. And we're like,
Wow.
holy tamale. Okay. Like, when we had all these other people doing it, I say, oh, tell me what happened.
Wow.
Tell me what happened after the drawing. Like, I need to know, like, give me the story. And so at the end of the day, this book the worst case scenario, you'll get so relaxed, and you're going to get you're going to re-regulate your nervous system, etc. You'll go from fearful and anxious to curious and content and peaceful. Like you really can.
Which
This,
that alone is the perfect space for manifesting. You, since
yeah.
like you said, you're always manifesting. So what you want to do is get in alignment with manifesting what will bring you joy. And
Yes,
regulating your nervous system is a
it's
really good
part of it,
place to start, right? Like
right?
that's necessary and sufficient.
Yeah, and also understanding the why behind, people say, "Oh, I want this." I'm like, "Well, why do you want that? Like, what's the
Yeah.
agenda?" Look deeper into your why.
Yeah.
So the book is deep. I mean, I don't do any fluffy bunny stuff. It's deep, but it's when we also call all the real nerdy stuff nerd alerts. We make sure people know this is going to be dense, sciencey stuff. So we call it nerd alert, right? So people know, and then they can come back to the more, you know, universal conversation that we have about reclaiming our agency in a world where it's being usurped,
Yeah.
right? And we're being conditioned to see things through the lens of fear and separation and division. We're being told, and we're seeing the results of it. And I'm not saying that this book is going to help you change the world, but it's going to help you change your world.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, the way you see the world is going to drastically alter. And you're going to recognize this and that can both be true at the same time, right? That's the other freaky thing you realize. I can have this incredibly service oriented, highest good little mini universe, do my inner work, and have some fun with it because it's very playful. And I can still recognize that the world is very screwed up, right? And I realize that I am powerless to change certain things. I'm not powerless to change this. And it always starts with you.
Yeah.
If right, it always starts with you can make better decisions. Maybe you want to be an activist, fine, right? Like but you'll do it for the right reasons, or you won't be reactive, you'll be smart. Or
Yeah.
maybe you're really comfortable. Like I'm a very middle of the road kind of person, not popular. Right now, you want to be extreme. And I am not at all. I believe we're all going to come back to the center of the road at some point. I'll wait. And so this is what I want. I want to teach people that you can live, even though in spite of what you think you see in the reality that you're perceiving through your five senses and what you know. Well, how do you say that's not real? But you'll be so shocked at what is possible when you start doing these drawings and it first immerse yourself. I call it being stupefied in gratitude, right? So you get stupefied in gratitude just drawing those circles. Like you
Yeah.
can just do it. And then when you're there, all of a sudden, well, maybe you couldn't afford this, but somebody knocks on your door and says, "Would you like that?" And it's like, you will get what you need. It will, but it may not come to you. A plus B won't equal C,
Right.
right? You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, and for people that haven't read the book yet, because I know you're all gonna, and for people, a lot of my listeners, most of my listeners are listening, so they can't see the
Oh,
pictures. I'm
right. They
going
get,
to show up. No, it's okay. They will have stuff on the socials, and they can find it on your website and all that. And I can't. I have the book here, but I'm having trouble
yeah,
flipping to the right page, so I'm not going to do it. But a lot of what the book, and stop me if I'm summarizing wrong, but a lot of what the book entails, it's beautiful. You're doing these little drawings, starting with like an intention point, and then they really look like neurons.
yeah, they do.
And it's a very mindful practice. And I think too, it's a very playful practice. And playful is the energy that my guides always say is the best energy to address life with. And
Right.
especially manifestation, which again, you're always manifesting. So when we talk about manifestation, we're not, it's not a special thing that you're doing really. It's just, this is a way to do it more intentionally and more joyfully so that you appreciate your life a little bit more.
Right.
And it also helps you appreciate the parts of your life that you don't appreciate. I think when you recognize that I have this power, I have this control over
Yeah.
my point of attraction, over my intention, over how I respond things, over how I'm going
Yeah.
to move forward, then even the rough stuff becomes a lot easier to
Totally.
navigate through.
Absolutely, you nailed it. It's 100% true. So it's not a manual to teach you how to get what you want.
Yeah.
It's a manual to how to stay playful and curious and amazed and in awe of the incredible surprises that are better than
Yeah.
what you think you want, that come to you once you say what you want and then you
Yeah.
turn it over. And you're right, because life on life's terms is going to happen, but you will recognize the faith because you've had enough evidence. That's the other thing. You get evidence.
Yeah.
The best part of this work is the evidence that, and I really tell everybody, don't look for evidence of the big thing that exactly matches what you look for. The clues. Look
Yes.
for the small synchronicities that you go, whoa, oh
Right.
my God, like I'm supposed to go here next. This is so cool. I'm telling you, that is the most exciting part.
Yeah. And even the incompletes and the almosts are
Yeah.
huge. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I was almost there and I didn't get it. So
No,
I did
that's
something
good.
wrong. But yeah, exactly. It's like,
I didn't get
no,
it yet.
you're moving towards it. Look, you were almost there, right?
Like,
Like if
how
you're
great is that?
right, if you're driving, say from San Diego to LA and you find yourself in Redondo Beach, like you don't go, oh no,
Oh, like that
I
terrible
only
thing.
got there. You're like, oh, I've covered most of the ground. Like I'm much closer now.
Totally. I love the way you said that. So simple because it's so true. And I think that, also what happens, I think when people, talk about manifesting, they think it's a lot of work. You have to stare at it and like, focus and, make sure every detail is written down. And I'm like, no, don't you can if you want, but at the end of the day, let it go.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to see it until you let go. So why not know you're going to do it in advance instead of feeling crazy,
Yeah.
right? Which people do. They feel like, oh, I can't do it. That's so much work and it didn't happen. I'm like, no. It took 20 years for me to get the record deal that I put on every dream, every single vision board that I did, every art project I did. And I didn't even want it anymore because I forgot all about it because it
Right.
was a big disaster for years. And then I'm like, screw it. And the next thing you know, I got a major
Right.
record deal like 20 years later. And I'm like, are you kidding me? With the exact label that I put on every single board. And
Yeah.
I was mad most of the time because it was because it wasn't happening.
Right.
Instead of like, oh, and I learned right quickly,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
this is how
No.
this works.
Yeah, it's all out there. You just have to get into alignment with it. My son is a young adult and or a young professional, I guess. Young adult makes him sound younger. But anyway, and he's become like fascinated, or at least I wouldn't say fascinated, but curious about the law of attraction. And he
Oh,
wants
he should read my book.
I'm good. I should. Oh my God, this would be so good for him. Duh. I think I don't think I sent it to him yet. All right, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's like a very magical place to be because and I hope he's not listening to the show, but I send him books now and he gets like really excited and it's just like
But that's cool.
it's really
We want
cool
that.
because when your kids are little and you suggest something to them, they're like, Mom. But now he's like, oh, I got the book. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what book that was, but I'm glad you're enjoying. But he was talking about when I first learned about the law of attraction, probably he was maybe like 6 or 7. And I learned about it. Yes, visualize and it will happen. Visualize and it will happen, right? Which is part of it, but like
It is
really,
part. It's not finished.
it's a
Yeah, it is
tiny part.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I don't poo-poo it. But it was unfinished.
right.
It wasn't just that. You imagine how you feel when you're there. Yes, I mean, goal setting is great, visualizing yourself there, but who do you need to become to be that
Yeah,
person? And
thousand
what if you're
percent.
not that person yet?
Right.
So if you acknowledge that and go, cool. So I'm now going to get all these like synchronicities to show me what I have to do next to get to the
Right.
place where I
And
feel like
and
this.
to be honest with what you're feeling now too,
Yeah.
because a lot of times too we're like, yes, I can visualize it, yes, I can visualize, and
Sure.
and if you're not present, you're like, you're not, but it's okay. But
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was
And you don't have it. I want it. It means I don't have it. Like the not having just brings you more not having.
exactly. And so he was like a little kid,
Yeah.
and what he wanted to see, we were on vacation in Miami at a place where, we would always be looking for sea life. And the top of the sea life to see would be dolphins. And,
Yeah.
every couple of trips when we were down there, we'd get to see dolphins. He really wanted to see dolphins. And he was like visualizing, and no dolphins were coming. And he was getting really frustrated. And the babysitter was yelling at me, like, what have you done to him? Like you we've just created a monster. But the other day he was saying to me, Mom, I think it's kind of like the dolphins. Like, I remember how frustrated I was then that I couldn't see dolphins, but now I see them everywhere I go, like all the time. Like every time I'm in San Diego, like I go out for a run and there's 3 pods of dolphins. And I was like, yeah, that, sometimes that's how it works.
Oh, see,
right?
I love this is the best conversation ever
Aw.
because no, seriously, because this is how it is. And and it's really just also because we've been taught to see things a certain way and we just kind of have to unlearn it. And it's not that hard. The other thing is it's not hard work, but it's about letting go and trusting. I've got a great funny story to tell you.
Okay.
And it's, I think the only, and I said this on another podcast. I think the only reason this happened was so I could tell the story. Like, honestly, right? So 2 things happened just before the book. One after the book, was back in September. So I have never cared about a New York Times bestseller. I've never cared about anything like that. Because especially as I was in this, very niche thing with all the oracle cards and the books I was writing, about my channeling and the blah, blah, blah. And I never even thought that it would ever be something like that. But this is the first book I've ever written and worked on that I think a mass population could be really helped by it, right? And for me, a New York Times bestseller equated to more people experience the body of work, right? That's what it means to me. Like, it doesn't mean anything to my ego because I never cared, right? But I really, anyway, so I decided I'm going to admit that I would love a New York Times bestseller. I think I'm going to say that. And then I laughed and I went inside, I did a drawing and I said, I'm going to put it on a drawing. And I put New York Times. I wrote that on the drawing. And I called Elizabeth she's the head of my brand. And I said, okay, here's what I did. I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to admit it. I think this book could be really good. I don't want to make myself tiny and small. I think this could reach a lot of people and I don't care how long it takes. And I think it would be really cool to have a New York Times bestseller. And we both laughed. Okay. And didn't talk about it again. I showed her the picture. 2 hours later, Beth Grossman, who you know, right? Beth, right? Writes me an email. The New York Times would love to meet you and have you teach the book to their employees for the Healthy Times program that they bring in speakers.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my God, the universe has a sense of humor. But I got exactly what I asked for because I wanted to reach more people. And if there's 10 more people in the room, I'm getting 10 people at the New York Times because I did say New York Times and bam, there it was.
Yeah.
So you get what you are, not what you want. Like, I wanted a bestseller, but this was just as good.
Yeah. Well, it's not done yet.
No, but it's not even important. The point is the universe went, we're going to give you something to talk about now. So of course I went and met them and I told them right away, like, you won't believe this. I just did this thing, blah, blah, blah. And it was a kind of a really cool conversation because it wasn't the end game was what in my head I thought, but this was beautiful. This works. This was what I am like this matched me now where I am now, right? And it's perfect now. And it doesn't need to be the bigger thing anymore because spirit answered me. Like, the universe said, here is a reflection of what you really want, which is to teach this to more people. And you're getting to do that. And we heard you say New York Times, so you're going there.
What you said is so huge. And I think it's something that, and you bring it up in the book too, but I think it's something that people don't always get with law of attraction and manifesting. And the whole thing is that you have these deeper intentions, and these deeper intentions are the ones that are going to be most likely to bring you joy and to align you with what you're really excited about being here on earth to do. And the mind tries to figure out the steps to get you there. I got to do this, and then I got to do this. Right. And because, that's all the mind knows. The mind just knows what's out there, what it thinks, what other people have done. And it's not bad. It's going to be a player in there, right? Like New York Times, right?
What's that crazy?
Right. But when we let go and we just allow that we're manifesting perfectly at every moment, and that, these synchronicities and these miracles are ours for the taking, and we don't have to specify. We can have dreams and goals. I got a lot of those, but we don't have to specify exactly how it's going to play out because the universe knows, way better than we do. So, and
I think what's so important is, when I talk about this in the book a lot, is to let go of the form.
Yeah.
We have to let go of the form. Yes, we can manifest the exact thing. We can. I've seen other people do it too. But if we let go of the form and let spirit or let the universe decide the form that is
Yeah.
best for us,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
That's a
is
good way
this
of
a
putting
stepping
it.
stone to the next thing? It doesn't matter now because I got exactly what I asked for. I asked to reach more people, and it happened to be the word is New York Times. So I'm reaching their staff, whoever shows up. It could be 10 people, like it could
Yeah.
be six people, right?
It's still cool though.
But it's
And
still
but
the
those are important.
coolest.
Those are important people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know
I
what?
mean, we're all important people,
No,
but
no,
I
but
just mean like, like
yeah,
sometimes too, it's
you don't know.
you pull like a particular audience, right? And those are the ones that are going to be perfect to spread to the next best people, right?
And so one of the things that has helped me, and I know it's because you already know this, which is why I know you know what you know, right? And we both know the same thing, which is when we wear the world loosely, miracles are always there.
Yeah.
And it is a practice, it's a discipline. Wanting and grasping at something is not ever, it literally tells you as soon as you feel that,
Yeah.
your response is going to be no.
Yeah.
It just is every time. You have to get to a place where you don't care.
Right.
You literally have to be hootless
Right.
about it. And then it comes. That's why it's so much easier to manifest things that you don't have too much attachment to.
Yeah.
Like I had a very specific thing that I wanted. I don't enjoy shopping, but I love shopping. But when I'm prepared, because I can't go to IKEA because I've got such bad ADHD. Like I can't handle all the things. Like I just have a panic attack. I have to go home. Right. So when I go shopping, I have to have little points. And I know I can win, I can shop knowing that if those things are there, great. If not, I can just leave. Right. You know what I mean? So I was looking for a very specific brand, very odd, weird brand of jeans. They were called silver jeans. They are for curvy bodies and they're really thin, like, right? So, and I can't find them anywhere. So I did a little drawing about, jeans, just like, I know that sounds so crazy, but I wrote little jeans. I just did this on a tiny little tiny piece of paper. And then I let it go going like, oh, do I need them? Do I want them? I don't really care. But yeah, it'd be great. Like it'd be like, great. Yeah. And I know exactly which one. And that'd be awesome. Today, I go into a ton, I go for a colonic. Okay, I'm getting like I'm just really getting
All good.
TMI, but whatever. And I wander into this tiny little store I've never been in before. And I wandered in and I went, oh, what are those? They're this obscure little jean, not expensive, like thin, fit me perfectly. And they were even like a lower size, which I loved because,
We all
I
love
gained some
that.
weight. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, that's nice. But even still, it was so crazy. And I'm like, how is this? Because I just put it down. I went, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's how. And then but if it wasn't there, I would also not care. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
but they were right there, the exact thing. And it took me 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Out I went.
Yeah.
Right? Like parking, people say they have parking fairies, the parking spots, right? They
Right.
just know
And
they're
you
going to have it
believe
there.
it and you're
Yeah,
okay with not having it, but it's
yeah,
really great when you get it. And I think too, and I want to get this from the guides, there's also this cooperation to know. I mean, this is the word they're giving me, and this is the one that everyone says when they try to manifest, but I don't think they understand it. Like this or something better.
yeah,
And but I think that's really, really important because it
yeah.
reminds you like it's this or something else, but it's going to be great. I don't have to worry about the specifics. I just trust something in this direction that's going to please me. That's please seems a little low, but that's going to bring me joy.
Yeah, or it bring me joy or get me ready,
That's
right?
even
So
better. Yeah.
I would say get me ready. A really good example too was I didn't, I'm constantly doing inventories on what's still left in me. Like, do I still have a resentment? Like, is what's still alive in me that could possibly prevent liberation and feeling like that I could serve from a really clean filter, right? So I'm always
Right.
making sure the filter's clean because you can be as psychic as you want, but if you don't have a clean filter, nah, not going to come out clean. So, I ran into a situation where I had to take a look and go, wow. Oh, okay. I get it. If I want to be free, I got to let this piece go. Why should I be holding on to a resentment? I don't even know this person anymore. This happened to me nine
Right.
years ago. Why is that tweaking me today? And I was like, oh, so literally meditation, a little bit of writing, and then I felt clearer to do the next thing.
Yeah.
So I think when we have these synchronicities come where we're asking to become clearer or better, we're going to get a lesson sometimes that takes us to that next level
Yeah.
because we weren't ready to
Yeah.
get to that place where we could have that experience that we say we want because we have too many agendas still, or we still have some unfinished business. And I think it's a lifetime thing. It's not like you have to sit in shadow work every day of your life 24/7.
Life will show you.
Yeah. And I also believe I only get what I can handle on any given day.
Yeah.
I live in 24 hours. I don't even, and it's funny you said I'm not the psychic, the predictions. So I was. I built
Ah,
my reputation for the first 6, 7, maybe even 8 years on predictive accuracy. I was
wow.
bizarre. I had a bizarre. Then I started asking questions like, wait a minute, what if this person could have something better than this? If they just did a little tweak here, because I can see that they're manifesting something, but not from a super clean place, and they're going to run into an issue. So I started asking the question, well, if you could
That's
have something
beautiful.
different than this, would you want it? Would you not want that? And I realized, okay, I'm going to focus more on the prescriptive, right? So here's what my guides are telling me for you, and here's what I see, and here's the likely reality. But if you did X, Y, and Z, here's the other. So giving people that empowerment as opposed to the passive receiver of information. And manifestation was taught very passively, that like your only action was to want it, right? And then see yourself have, and then you got it, right? So it wasn't, there was more, this is much more collaborative, and you're not looking for the exact thing right away. You're looking for the next right action and the next step
Yeah.
to that, right? And you're seeing all of it as potential, as amazing.
Right. Which brings us back to intuition. And this is a podcast about intuition. And, where does intuition fit into this? Like,
Oh,
because,
it
yeah,
helps.
I'm
Yes,
going to
thank
let
you.
you answer because that to me is the moment when you need to
Yeah.
listen right there.
1,000%. And so this is like going to the intuition gym, and here is why. Most of us, and people don't even realize this, when we are in the fight, flight, freeze, fawn, attach, when we are staying too long on social media, when we are reading the news too many, and which is siloed, right? So we're not in the same universe as our neighbor, for example. So you have a lot of division, and you're spending most of the time, and most of us have been since even before the pandemic. This is the longest sustained uncertainty any human being has ever had,
Really?
right? So, and practiced uncertainty. So when you are in the fear, your instinct is online, not your intuition, because you're looking for potential threats. So the reticular activating system of your brain is also looking for those threats, right? So, oh, hey, it's just we gave the bouncer at the party the guest list, and it's only looking for reasons for you to, okay, don't go there and don't do that, and that person's not safe, and look, not safe, not safe, not safe, red light, red light. So your intuition cannot work. It really can't. Your intuition relies on your body being a clear channel, because everyone's intuition is, the body is the instrument of intuition. It plunks. If you're curious, intuition works.
Mhm.
And you can't be curious when you're looking for a threat. Oh, I
Right.
wonder if there's a threat over there. You don't think that. It's like, let me look for the threat. Ah, right. So you cannot. So when you do these drawings, for example, like these simple drawings, you are training yourself to listen, because it's intuition that recognizes the synchronicities. It is
Yes.
not your instinct, it's intuition. So your
Yes.
intuition sees the universe going, hello, hello,
Yeah.
Victoria, right? You know what I mean? You need your intuition.
Yeah.
And so the intuitive element that all of us have, every single one of us has, it just logs on. And if
Yeah.
it feels like a plunk, I always say that difference between instinct and intuition, or is that, and wishful thinking and intuition
Yeah.
just is, and it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense, but blah,
But
and it
you
just goes
just, you feel
blah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the body feels it. Whereas the rest of it is all machination, right?
Amen. Amen. All right, Colette, I ask everyone on the show, and I'm excited for your answer. But I ask this to everyone: how personally do you experience your intuition?
Oh, like a plunk.
I mean, you just answered it, but I
But I experience, well, I can tell you how I experience intuition physically, right? So I receive information from here. Like it's so weird. I cannot have someone, if there's two people, you cannot sit on my left side.
That's funny.
It's just so weird. You can't. You have to sit over here, right? So it's like this very, I can communicate over here. I feel like, oh, it's like too much information coming at me, whatever. It's just so weird. So I get it from my right. Everything is it flows this way. Every time I had a client, they would sit over here. Like that's what they would do. They would sit there. That's how it was. It's very strange.
Do you think it's like that for most? I have to ask, I think my mentor is also right side. Like, so I say my spirit spot, like when I feel guides
Yeah.
or spirit around me, it feels like they're right here.
Yeah, right
Um,
here.
yeah. And so I've come to call it my spirit spot because I can kind of feel but it's on the right. I'm wondering if that's
I
universal
don't know.
or that's now
I
I'm just like
wonder
super
too.
curious. Yeah.
But for the people that I know that have done this for a living that I've chatted with, we've all kind of said similar things
Yeah.
that I mean everybody experiences different. Like you say guides, right? So I receive it. I just receive it from the universe. Like I just receive it.
I
Like
think
spirit
it's,
sends it
yeah.
to me. But I also have these guides. They call themselves Fred. They're a chorus of voices and they don't come when I call. Like, right? They just show up out of the blue. And they're like so wild. And like I hear them like tinkling bells. And they're like a chorus of angels. Like
Oh,
we are Fred, we are Fred. I wrote about it in my one of my books. And I was so excited that maybe I too, because everybody talked about their guides, but then they just disappear and come back when they feel like it.
yeah.
So they came for the book. They showed back up for the
I
book.
love it. Yeah, I think it's all good. Like I've had people
Yeah,
say I just get from sore. I think for me
of course.
it's a
Yeah.
combination. When I'm working, it's just it
Yeah.
comes
The down,
through,
yeah.
but I love having my spiritual peeps. I was a very lonely child. I'm happy to share. And when I learned about spirit guides, I was like, I have friends. So
Yeah.
I love having the personified guidance as well. It brings me a lot of comfort and peace. But when I'm really in the zone, I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's good.
I had an experience with an angel that scared that. Can I say the bad word or I don't know?
We're a clean
They're
podcast.
scared the poop out of me.
That works.
Right? They scared the poop out of me. But it was the most profound experience I ever had was knowing that this giant angel that showed up when I was an aromatherapist and I had done this, I was standing up doing this massage up the spinal cord, right? So over this, and she was also another psychic, was a really interesting woman. Anyway, so I was doing this, and all of a sudden I felt like my body was being pulled out of my feet, like my feet were shoes. And I'm like, where am I going? And I knew this was still happening, and I could hear my voice like it was getting further away. And the next thing
Wow.
you know, I found myself in the front of a giant door, and I went under the door, and I went into this giant, like huge, like cavernous place with these big, like I don't know how to put it. They were like these big arches, and the floor was. I remember the floor was like a checkerboard, black and white checkerboard. Anyway, so I'm looking up and going, where the hell am I? And I could still hear my voice slightly because I did a spoken word meditation when I would work with people. Next thing you know, out of this light, this giant angel that scared me to death. It was so humongous. And it was like this light that looked at me and it knew everything about me. I was completely exposed. I'm like, oh my God, what is it? Right. And then it picked me up and and I could see that they were filaments, like it wasn't wings, it was like wings. And I was like, oh my God, this is what people think are angels. Wait, poke, poke. Right. I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
and it was humming and laughing. And then it took me down a corridor and there was 10 or there was a total of 11 of them, and they bounced me around in the air. Like they were like laughing and throwing me around. And then I ended up going through this thing in the floor, like this violet thing. And then I found myself being put right back into my feet. So the woman I was working with said to me, "You're never going to believe what just happened." I said, "What?" My pupils must have been this big. And she said, I left my body. I'm like, "Really? Wait till you hear what I have to say." She goes, "Yeah, I left my body." And I was in front of a big door, and there was a ladder, and I climbed up the ladder and looked through the keyhole, and I saw the back of a big angel. So I went through the keyhole, and and I followed the angel, and it was down this corridor, and then it went into this courtyard, and then these angels were tossing around a newborn baby, and they were handing it to each other. And I'm like, "You can't be serious." Then I told her. So that angel gave, and my readings became so clear after that. Like it was like I was touched, and I can tell you this, like even though it scared me because I'd never seen something so humongous, but it was so profound at the end. And so I would call on it and it wouldn't come. So this is in the 80s, like I'm old. So, in the 80s when they had the harmonic convergence and everybody did these angel dances, and I was so disappointed because mine never came back, right? And then just one day, random, I was sitting with my little dog on my lap because he always sat on my lap when I meditated. And I was just sort of feeling like, what's the purpose of all of this? I was having one of those days, right? And didn't I get that angel? It came around me, the wing, and said, "I'm here. I'm always here.
Mm.
I'm always here." I was like, "Oh my God." So yeah, I know that there is, and I also knew that if I could keep doing my work, because I really believe I got a second chance at life, like, because I should be dead. I really should be dead. And my life now is the gift back to that angel, to the universe, to whoever
Mm.
wants to use me for something good in the world. And I too feel like, wow, they really are real. They're real.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. Or I could talk to you all day, but I can't.
Yes.
And I know you're a busy lady too, so we got to start to wind this one down. But that is absolutely beautiful. And yeah, that's what I would call a guide.
Right?
And
Yeah.
the way that they've explained it to me too is, it's like a prism. So we all come from one thing, but it's nice sometimes. It's just like you and I are differentiated. Like
Yep.
they can be too. So it just depends on how you want to look at it. But friends, you're going to want to get the book. See, I have the book, proof that I read the book. It's awesome. And you're going to want to connect with Colette to do all her fun things. So Colette, tell people how to do that.
Sure. Just come to my website, ColetteBaron-Reid.com, and just sign up for my newsletter. We send you so much free stuff, and you can try my Oracle cards for free. And if you do get the book, The Art of Manifesting, you just go to ColetteBaron-Reid.com/book, and you get a free workshop there that's recorded so it can help you, all the resources that you could use, that we knew that would, for a person that's new to it, that would really help you. So I like to give free stuff away. So, and come and join, and then see what's up.
Yay, beautiful. And I know you guys are all going to want to do that. And yeah, this has been a great interview, Colette. Thank you so much. Thank you, listeners. I say it every time, but it just doesn't get old. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you. It's been a journey, almost 6 years from where I'm standing now, that I've gotten to do this. And I'm just so grateful to each and every one of you for tuning in and letting me do what I love. So thank you all, and namaste.